Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 29 of my Factorio 2.0 guide. So, in the last episode, we made all of this. We made explosives, we made rockets, we made tank ammo, and rocket fuel. So that we could have something to grab for our tanks when we needed to go out and clear biters. And then we went and cleared out a bunch of biters. We grabbed a barrel of sulfuric acid, took it up with us to tap the uranium so that we could start the process of crafting centrifuges, which we should probably have a few of made by now. All 10. Sick. That was a good idea. Okay, so in this episode, our focus, our goal is we're gonna have a lot of busy work for our construction bots coming up soon. So they end up eating a lot of power. Our coal is starting to dwindle down. We are getting to the point where we need to start thinking about expanding power, and we're gonna need a lot of power just to even get started. Oh, not that one. Just to get started with nuclear. So we're just gonna do a little bit of cleanup for now. Yeah, tapping the last of that iron. Alt D, get rid of these, all of the excess bits. This one had a bunch of stuff too. Just get rid of that. These four. That whole tail end. This one is still active. This one is still active. Okay, so like I said, we're just kind of clearing up some of the little bits that we no longer need. Another nice thing about some of the changes that they've made for that guy needs power. For Factorio 2.0, some of the changes. Yo, really? So we've generally had a problem with radar coverage, and one of the nice things, and the reason why I haven't been placing as many radars as we could, is roboports. Roboports now have they now give us visuals, so we did not need a bunch of radars. Radars are still useful, and we might get into some of that. I guess initially I can just say, like, one of the things that radars are still useful for is they can actually transmit. So we have a city block blueprint that transmits the red and green wires across the entire world. So we have connected red and green to everything, which is also why you need to kind of be careful with your signals, because you will, if you broadcast onto the main lines, they will pick up everything. Anyways, but radars are actually capable of connecting via red and green wire, so you could have this broadcast this and say, okay, I'm going to broadcast the signal out from this radar and have a second radar somewhere else on the same world, and it will pick up that signal, which is awesome. The radars still also like scan out, right? So I mean, they do have their use, but the roboports are what we will use for visuals now. And the reason why they made a change like that is largely for the expansion. You do leave the planet and you have multiple other planets that you go to. So they needed a way for you to be able to look back home without having like full radar coverage. You know, the roboports, you're probably spreading out all over the place anyways, so hey, it just makes sense to match those up, right? Okay, so we need to make a build for solar panels and for accumulators. This is the bread and butter of what we need for a solar array. So what a solar array is we just kind of like take large sections and take large sections and stamp down the proper ratio for these solar panels and accumulators. So we'll get into that later on in this video, but for now we just need to set up a build for the two of those. So let's get our measuring stick out. This is where we're going to be crafting. We need our parameters, which are going to be here and here. This isn't a very big build. Like, this is actually kind of a waste of a space for solar panels and accumulators. Ideally, we probably would have put them in, like, this one is a little bit smaller here compared to this section and this section, but you know what, it's fine. There's no harm in putting them here. So we need solar panels and we need accumulators. These things go hand in hand. They are best buddies. So for the solar panel, we need copper plates, we need steel plates, and we need electronic circuits, electronic green circuits, and that will make 0.07 solar panels per second. So if we brought in a full belt of green circuits, at best, we could make 30 solar panels. We're not going that high. And then this one, the accumulators need iron plates and batteries, completely different from the solar panels. So at least with the solar panels, let's just cut these and move them into the middle. So we do need more space for outgoing, like this. This kind of in the middle, close enough. But we know we need at least 2 lanes for this, and we can just do 1 lane for the accumulators. And we do not need to go that far out, because we will just do that. So we're not hooking these up yet, but what did we say we needed? We needed copper and steel. Hey, conveniently we have are they all the way? Okay, the closest one that I have is there. Alright, should have just done that with map view, or just placed a new accumulator down, whatever. That, and then we need green circuits there, and this guy needs iron plates and batteries. Where'd the batteries go? Batteries are up here. And I've also mentioned before, yeah, you see the copper on the left hand side and the steel on the right hand side. Don't get too caught up on the positioning, because if I were to put in batteries on the left hand side and iron plates on the right hand side, it will show up as iron on the left, batteries on the right. This is just an indicator of what kind of materials we need on the belt, not necessarily the exact placement of where they need to be. So if we made, like, we're not gonna make 30 of these. Like, they both craft at the same time, but the ratios that we need are a little bit different, and that's a non-issue. We're not, like, we don't care. We do generally need more solar panels than we need accumulators, but again, so we're just gonna have more accumulators most of the time. Okay, so we could actually end up making a lot more accumulators. Okay, what do we need? We're gonna need, let's say we go down to, I guess minimum you want 8 of each, but I think we're gonna do a little bit more. So let's do 16. Is that 16? Yeah, we're gonna do 16. So, autosave. And we'll just match this. And I don't know if you remember, but I did say that we could just do a lot of this in remote view if we wanted. And honestly, just, you could set things up like this, copy those, paste, paste, paste. Like, this becomes really fast once you kind of start to get used to what's going on. This one only needs that. This one needs this. And a long hand inserter, which usually ends up in the middle. And here we are starting to see the power of bots. Yeah. And last one there. Finish these up, and the bots will just come and fill in the rest. We need power, so let's get. Is this gonna fit? It is. I know we're gonna need some storage, so let's leave some room up front for the storage. Okay, that kind of that worked out way better than I thought. And there we go. Now we can let the bots fill in the rest, and we will get in our stuff. So let's get into some green circuits. 3 of those. Copy this to priority filter right. There's 1, and we need. We'll do. Whoops. Yeah, we'll just do. Wait a minute. How do I want to do this? If this is coming down here. Nope. We need this over. Alright, so that's gonna look like that. And if this is coming through here with steel, steel could probably just wrap back around. And that's gonna be on that side. And copper can then just do the same thing here. This is the, like, cleanest, like, the downside of doing it this way is it's going to take off one lane only. Like, it'll never take off the top lane, but we've kind of supplemented that by putting these lane balancers. So it's not that big of a deal. We will always, like, kind of take off from both. Like, you can see that both sides of these are crafting. It's not like one side is, like, super heavy, because this thing is... This contraption, this belt balancer, lane balancer, is making both of them take at the same time. Even though basically only one lane is moving down here, they are roughly moving at the same rate. So that's the power of a lane balancer, and that is awesome. Okay, so what else do we need? We need... and we're just going to do the same thing with the iron. And then we need batteries, which are all the way at the top. And I don't think we've dragged them through to this point yet. No. Let's remove this. We do not... Alright, bots, you're up. Bots can get rid of that. Bots can get rid of this. That's for LDS, but we... You know... We're aware that it needs to be there at some point, so we've, as long as we have the electric engines on one side, and oh, this is just gonna line up perfectly because we can just height. Okay, all right, we're getting there, and that should be that. And then we can continue that on later if we need. And does that do it for both? Why did my alt is off? Okay. Everyone is happy all the way down. These guys are working on it. The batteries need to come saturate. Okay, so now we need to collect, and we are going to collect here and here. So we're going to keep like with like. So we're going to keep accumulators on this side. So this is going to be accumulators, and this is going to be solar panels. And if you remember from some of the previous episodes, we'll connect these after. We need to filter these. So if we want solar panels on the left, we need to filter the inserter to only grab solar panels. And we need to filter the right one to only grab accumulators, and then fill them up. And because this is the only thing going in here, we are going to circuit limit these. Because if we were to do this and then we decided to tear something down, it would not work out in our favor. So let's connect these and these. So enable if solar panel is less than, let's just go with 1,000. And this one we will say, for the sake of what we need, enable if accumulators are less than 840. Why did I say 840 and 1,000? Well, we are going to get into that right now. So thankfully we have night vision, so lighting is not as important, but you know what? Let's do it anyways. We'll just match those there and just go every like 2 sets of... Oh, that worked out great. I'm pretty sure we missed out on some lights over here too, so let's just have the bots bring us in some lights. There. We can do the same. We'll just do the top side every... Oof. Somebody messed up. Don't know who could have done that. And over here. See, how awesome is remote view? Remote view is great. I don't know how to evenly distribute these, so let's just... Sure. Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Is there anyone else that doesn't have lights? I don't care about it. I don't care about the belts. I don't care about the mining. Like, none of these need lights. This, I mean, I would have been fine leaving lights out of here. And I think we can move on. Did we really not put lights up there? Of all places, we were like, oh, we're gonna put the lights. Okay, so these went behind these and there. Wow, we went that whole time without those there. They must have not been that important. Okay, so what episode are we in? We're in episode 29, so we're going to save this. I have been numbering every single one of them just in case I have to go back at some point for editing purposes. And I'm going to load in a world that we have set up. And if this is your first time seeing something like this, the way that you set this up, we went over this, I believe, in episode 4. I think we went over this in episode 4. When we created our city block blueprint, which... What in the... Oh, okay, so I've done some previous stuff here. Setting up for future success, right? What do we need? Oh, I didn't even need to do that. Anyways, hopefully that doesn't... Okay, when we had our city block blueprint that we made, we were in a world just like this, and we created... I like to keep power here, but I like to keep it out of the way. Where is our infinite energy? There. That'll get rid of the blinking lights. Okay, so we created this world. This is a sandbox world. You know what? Let me just show again. We've already been through this, but you know, maybe some people are just seeing something like this for the first time. So you go to single player, you go to new game, and you enter, instead of free play, which is where we normally play, you go to sandbox, go to next. None of these settings even matter, you just jump into the game. It's going to ask you, do you want all of your technologies? Do you want some cheat items? Do you want, you know, cheat mode? Do you want all daylight? These are all just hit yes. So while you're here, you can hit the tilde key and then hit \editor. If you know how to spell or type, and then that brings this up. So this gives you access to a bunch of different stuff. You can see there's no character. If we go to map view, we have a very tight space, but I'm paying attention to this side over here, and you just go around and start uncovering until you have a giant rectangle, I've taken the time to go through and do a massive one. You can't just like run through this. Like watch, if I just run through this and then go up and then go right, like at some point it's gonna not catch up. Really? You're gonna make me a liar? Anyway, sometimes that doesn't work like that. And then to get the type of world after you start uncovering all that you're gonna uncover, if you go to surfaces and then remove all entities, that removes literally everything except for the bodies of water and the patterns on the ground. Anything that would have flashed in like this, just remove entities. That removes your biters, your cliffs, that removes the mining stuff, and then we fill it with lab tiles, and these lab tiles will take up the space of, well, one tile. So any of your, say, like belts, they all take up one tile. And the purpose of us being in this editor mode is for quick placing things to make blueprints. Okay, so I'm gonna load back into that world since I have, you know, a couple things set up. Okay, so when we are making, I'm just gonna place, whoops. Now, when you, again, I've mentioned this before, but when you have these, it does kind of give you an inventory. So if I just place 50 of these, I'm gonna run out. You can just pipette and place more. But everything instantly creates and instantly deletes, which is awesome. Also, if you try to place things and you see, oh, I'm placing them in Ghost, why isn't this working? Probably because you are in remote view. So just exit remote view and place away. Okay, now, so similar to a lot of the other things that we've been doing, we are going to try and stay within the confines of our city block. So we want to create something within the city block. So I think if we kind of start in a central location, we want to take up as much of a city block as we can. It looks like we're going to be 5 wide. So I'm going to cut this and see if I can kind of eyeball this in the middle. That was not in the middle. We need to be over. So I'm going to Control Z and Control V. How about we do this? Alright, so that should be right in the middle. And then we can just line all of these up. So we want to try to take up as much area as we can. Like we don't have, we're gonna leave like a little bit on the outside. So if we were to copy this, you can see that if we lined it up over here, like there's gonna be some area that we're not gonna end up using. So we do want to leave some area because you don't want to completely block it off. You want to have some wiggle room to drive through, or I mean driving through this would be very difficult, but you know, ride through, drive through, walk through. But we also want to like take up as much of the area as we can. No, I'm gonna leave that. If you were gonna play with your wire alignment, this would be the place and the time to do it. Does that not connect? Okay, that's why. Yeah, you know what, we could fiddle around with this for a second. So let's just straighten our wires out. Just do that. I mean, this really has no real purpose. Like, there's no reason for us to actually do this. Just, you know, just looking nice, I guess. That's the only reason. Looking decent. Okay, so we need solar panels. I'm gonna put these on my bars here just to have them. So some things to note. So accumulators are the same size as the... What do you mean no power? Do we need to hit... This should have been giving us power. Oh, whatever. Come on. If I back out of the editor, that did nothing. Okay, we're not gonna worry about it. Maybe it's the solar panel. Okay, all right, fine, be like that. What was I saying? Okay, so these are the same size as the substations. So we want to try to take up as much space as we can. So I think if we use this as a starting point, we can probably just say that we're going to do something like this in the middle. And we're going to focus on this top section because we can just, as long as we have a good reference point, we can just copy and paste whatever we do on the bottom. So I talked earlier about the solar panel to accumulator ratio, and you need, well, exactly what I put in the chest. You need 1,000 solar panels for every 840, give or take some, 840 accumulators. The ratio is 0.84. So for every one solar panel, you need 0.84 of an accumulator. So that's why I did a limit of 1,000 and 840. So let's just fill the area and see how it plays out. I am probably not looking for any particular design. I am just looking for as much coverage as we can get and functionality. I want to, again, keep it within the confines of our city block, and I want to just fill the area as needed. So we can probably, this will be fine. We are going to need to put some accumulators in at some point though, so let's just keep going. And there's some funky stuff that happens around this because this guy is 4x4, so accumulators will need to be placed if the solar panels don't work. Let's just see how that works. Okay, so that does work, but we're gonna need accumulators too, so this might throw us off a bit, but what okay, so okay, this actually lined up good, because if we had put another, if we had not put accumulators here and put solar panels, then it wouldn't line up here, so we need to be cautious about that. But then it doesn't line up here, so we would probably need accumulators around here for the sake of lining things up. Alright, we know we're probably gonna put those there. Let's see. Do I want to... Let's see how the solar panels line up. They don't. So you see there's a little gap there. Let's see if we can fill that gap. Does this fit? So these will fit. And what if we, tell you what if we did like accumulators like that? Would this fit the solar panels? Yes. Okay. And solar panels will not fit into there. So what if, so if we needed to move the solar panels up by 1, what if we cut this and moved it up by 1? We're gonna force this in and have accumulators here and solar panels there. So then that kind of dictates that these go here. Well, let's just match what we have on the other side. Nope, not cut. All right, so we're gonna control C. I'm gonna whip out my calculator real quick and see if we're coming close to any kind of a ratio. On the bottom right hand corner, you can see we have 178 accumulators divided by 202 solar panels. So we're at 0.8811. So we're in the ballpark. So we're kind of in the gonna end up in the right spot. So let's try accumulators here because they line up with the substations. I wonder how many. So if we just, let's see what we can do with solar panels, and then we can probably determine what we need for substations after that. Okay, so we know that we can't fit one there, but we can fit 2 rows of these here. So let's just do that. Because at this point, oof, we have filled up every single slot. Okay, so let's do another control. 308 accumulators divided by 322 solar panels. So we're at 0.956, so we're way over. But to beef, okay, so this is actually a new kind of a neutral. So this is okay. We're just gonna take a copy of this, and we're gonna hit V to flip it vertically, and let's check again. This is gonna throw the math off just a little bit. So 576 divided by 644 solar panels. Now we're at 0.894. So we need to remove some sections of accumulators and add some solar panels. So one thing to note too is that for every 4 solar panels, you need 9 accumulators. So if we just do this on these corners, let's try that out. All right, let's see what we end up with. 540 divided by 660. Ooh, so we went too far in the other direction. So that is 0.818. So what if we just took, so we went in the wrong direction. So let's take something that's like, I don't know, central like that. All right, let's take a look. We're getting close. 549 accumulators divided by 656 solar panels. That brings us to 0.8368. So that is almost that is almost exactly what we need for the 0.84. We could probably go slightly over, but you know what? I'm happy with this. This is good enough. So this is going to be our next blueprint. We're going to copy this, making sure not to get, anything that we have that will mess us up. And we're going to open up our blueprints and we're going to place this down. I don't need that anymore. I can delete that. There's our city block. Did I not ever name this? Alright, so let's drop our city block so we can make sure that this is actually going to line up. And then right click the blueprint. Let's just call this solar array. Let's give it that icon. Sure, why not? We're going to snap the grid. So we know that we need 100 by 100 because we want to fit the blueprint, the city block, how the row reports are set up. We want to be absolute on the 0, 0 axis. And the city block is a 1 offset, and the ones with rails are 2, I think. So let's just save this and see how this lines up. Perfect. And there you go. It doesn't look, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It's not, you know, some people like to do some crazy designs, and you could probably manage stuff like that just fine. Like, for instance, you could probably cut, we'll just do, like, let's just show this off. So we could probably shift these and have these be closer together. Do the same thing here. You know, we're just gonna delete all of this and just copy what we just did. And then vertically flip. Nope, I just messed something up. Wait, did I? Yes, I did, because we need, no, not cut, copy. And somewhere in here, like that. So it looks kind of like I don't know, old Nintendo stuff. Anyway, but you get the idea. You know, you can fiddle with it, trying to keep the ratio around. We would probably do, like, if we wanted to really play with it, we could probably do something like that. Just try to keep the proportions the same and just like move stuff around a bit. Like you could take, as long as you're doing sections of 3 by 3 at a time, so you could, like, I don't know, take that and rotate it and slam it in here somewhere, and then take the same size, the 4 by 4 from this. Where did we take this? I didn't even just, whatever, I'm not paying attention, obviously. You know, you can fiddle around with it, right? So let's, we're gonna save this because we want to make sure that we have all the stuff ready for Rails coming up, in the next episode. We're gonna be in this same thing in the next episode. So what are we at? We're at 38 minutes. All right, we're not making terrible time. So the blueprint shows that we need 656 solar panels for and 549 accumulators. They're down at the bottom. We're getting pretty close to that. We've got 360, and why are these crafting so slow? 10-second craft time, 10-second craft time. It's because we started late, that's all. And batteries are probably not sufficient. Hopefully that's not, okay, we need to check that because that could be a much larger problem. Let's remote view. Um, 0.25 per second times 24. That's about, what, 5 per second. These guys, 16. Hold on. 24 times 0.25 is, sorry, 6. Don't know why I was thinking that would be. And then 16 times 0.37. These should line up. Oh, it's about 6. Oh, geez. So what we're creating over here is almost exactly what we need, but we are only getting in half. Okay, so here's another little trick. If you have a situation where you can't necessarily fit in a lane balancer. Wait, we can totally fit in a lane balancer. There's enough room. All right, so let's copy our lane balancer and move that over here. I can't fit it in with the batteries, but I can fit it pretty close, so let's just put that thing there. Bots are on the way, our saviors. And that will ensure that we are taking from both sides of the batteries, so instead of making half, we're making all of these. Okay. There we go. Come on, bots. We need to end the video. Let's go. I guess while they're doing that, let's just place our blueprint. Oh, definitely not there. So you want to have your blueprints out of the way. Because wherever you place these is going to be an area that one needs to be accessible by the bots, so we can place our city block blueprint and just kind of start to get that guy around. But you want to have somewhere that you're not going to have trains. So my thinking whenever it comes to trains is I want a train section that's going to come right through here. So this is kind of going to be our main line. And then we will have, at some point, it will go up. I think we might be able to get enough, get away with it being here. No, that's going to go through the oil. So it has to go up through here. And then at some point, we're going to pull it and turn it this way. Because a lot of this rocket fuel is going to be fueling our trains for a bit. So let me get that back out. So what did I say? We're gonna go here, like here at some point, and then cut across. We're probably gonna have to do some funky stuff to get a train around this section to get in here to where those are. So let's assume that it's gonna come here. So that means that we can put a solar array there, there, and there, and be fine. So this is going to give the bots lots to do. They don't have a lot of space as far as energy goes, but you know what? They'll be pecking away at that over the next couple of episodes. Very, very slowly. Look at how slow those bots are. Oh man. They are so slow. Okay, is there any, before we go, oh, 42 minutes, 43 minutes. Is there any other research we can get going? We could definitely use some exoskeletons coming up soon, but we want power armor. Yes. I think we need blue processing. Yeah, we need processing units for that. So we will be doing that after trains. Exoskeleton. So we're kind of working towards a goal of dealing with purple science. Purple science is really the next major thing on the radar, but because of our lack of stone, like this stone is almost empty. That's all we have left. Our coal is going to be dwindling pretty fast. Coal is probably better off than stone, but because of our stone issues, we need to get trains up because we are going to tap this stone here and maybe this stone up in the corner and this stone over here. We have to get our stone issues taken care of, and we need the stone for the rails, and we need the power for the rail placement for the bots, and yeah, we're gonna be cutting this stone really close. Like this is not that much. Like most of the rest of the stone is just gonna be going into placing train rails and stuff. And the bots are going at it. I love just seeing waves of bots. Look at this. This is awesome. And the great power of bots. You just place things and they just do it, right? You say go here and they say yes sir. Anyways, okay. They're only going to place stuff up to here until the roboports get, now that the roboports are here, they need to get power, and then they will just continue on. Anyways, that is going to be it for this episode. Batteries are now going, yes, all of them. Does that mean that we're better over here? We are. Nice. Okay. That is going to be all for this episode. So, in the next episode, we start trains. So, that means that we are... Whoops. Let's just get these going. We'll be back for these at some point soon. Right? We are also aiming towards nuclear power because that is going to be a huge problem coming up soon. And we will deal with that after trains. We need to get our coal going, and we're going to deal with a lot of that after. Okay. In the next episode, we start train blueprints, and I don't know if you remember from episode 4, and I believe I mentioned it in episode 0.5 if you watched that episode. If you didn't, that's fine. In the next 4 or 5 episodes, we are going to exclusively be playing in the Sandbox game that we were just in. So we will not be returning here until episode 35, I believe. We're getting really close though. Like, we just need some, like, the last few pushes. We need the last few builds. In the builds coming up, we will have... Funny enough, this is actually where yellow goes, but we're going to do purple first. So we're going to have purple science somewhere in here, and then yellow science very shortly and immediately after. They will squeeze into here and take full advantage of our awesome research labs. Down here, we have our solar panels and accumulators. We will have blue science, or sorry, blue circuits probably here. We will have lower density structures probably here. We will probably save this section for rockets, and then we will have 3 builds over here for rank 1 and rank 2 modules. And that is the vast majority of the stuff that we have left. And if there's anything else that is needed, then we will deal with it when we get there. But we're going to be doing a lot with trains. Like, honestly, even when we come back, we will just have made the blueprints. We still have to deal with the blueprints. So that will involve tearing down the smelting areas, tearing down the starter base. We've got nuclear power coming up. Like, we've got a lot of stuff on the horizon. So, oof, this is what I mean. We have tons extra production of... This is gonna be close. You know what, let's just make sure this is gonna be okay. What are we using power on? Assembling machines, largely. Probably just because I queued up science. Let's just hold off on nuclear for a bit. Like, you guys can go back to I don't know, not doing anything. I love the bots. Look at all the bots. Okay, let's end this episode. Okay, that's better. So that was largely accumulator charging. Oh. Or not. Okay. That is it for this episode. I will see you in the next episode when we take care of the train blueprints and everything about trains. That is going to be large discussions, and we're going to get into combinators, and we're going to get into, you know, rails and trains and everything about trains, how to set up stations, everything. Like, we've got 4 to 5 videos lined up. All right, that's everything, and thanks for watching.